recording.
Boom. All right, here we are. Episode 8 or 9 or 10. We never really know, but 8 sounds right according to Ben.
I think 8's good.
All right, so as always, we're here with the Ben Lingle and the William William Shively, and also we're streaming live on Instagram. It's probably a bad thing, but and then we're also here with our guest, and he'll be a recurring guest, Coach Diego.
What's up? What's up, everyone?
What's crack-a-lackin', Diego? You keeping these two in check?
Yeah, they're behaving.
Real straight and to the point. So today we're just going to chop it up with Diego. We're going to let him share his story, a lot of things people probably don't know about him, and then a few topics that we're going to discuss from coaching clients and common things that we see that we think can help all of you guys. So without further ado, Diego, you want to start sharing some about your story, a little about who you are?
All right, so
Well,
damn, how far should I go?
Let's talk about the beginning. Yeah.
There was a bright light.
There was a bright light. There was a bright light. I cried a
Tense
lot.
pressure.
No, so basically, high school, it was pretty much around that time. I was pretty much like didn't care or didn't give a F about life. Just pretty much partying and stuff, eating whatever, just living the good life. And then after that, I started to care a little bit more about actually how I looked. Just not really enjoying going out a lot anymore and just getting really drunk, not knowing what happened that day. Let's say I was just going down a rabbit hole in that path. So I started first thing. My mom was always like a gym member. She was a recurring gym member. So I decided to join the same gym. Kind of started getting guided by a coach there, and started caring about my image slightly. I still went out and party and all of that stuff. Get like the same lifestyle. Slowly, I got more involved into it. I saw how much like it impacted my life, and I wanted to change, but I didn't really I wasn't fully aware of it. I just knew it was like in the back of my head. So slowly I started like separating myself from friends that just drew me into that lifestyle, and pretty much focused my attention into training, healthier eating. But that healthier eating slowly, I got more obsessive, and I have an obsessive mind. Like once I set my mind into something, it just circles around again and again and again. So once I got into that setting, it was just like it was pretty much just thinking about food, thinking about training, what would be the best option. I started reading a lot, going to a lot of blogs, going to a lot of training stuff, a lot of nutrition. The thing I think where I messed up the most, it was listening to everything I read. So everything I read, I didn't even question it. I just thought it was kind of true. And from there, I just slowly didn't even notice. I started eliminating food, trying to lose weight. I was, I don't know exactly in pounds, so I would go in kilograms. So I was 86 kilograms when I started, which I would say is about 180 something in high school. And then after that, it was just fat weight. I didn't work out at all. And slowly I started losing weight, but that weight went completely off to where I got to the point where I was 40 some kilograms, which would be around 120-ish or so. So it was a long time frame. I'm not exactly sure how long it was. It was just slowly progressing, slowly eliminating food. Till one day I just realized that's all my life was. It was just focusing on food, looking food on the computer, cooking but not eating even what I cooked. A lot of desserts type of meals, and I just gave it to my family or friends. So I realized I was like really unhappy, wanted to sleep all the time, didn't have energy. All the energy I had was just training and eating, and I was pretty in a really bad place. I was pretty depressed, and after that, not. I mean, Thomas, I'm gonna interrupt that because Thomas says we need a kilogram conversion table.
It's like 2.2 or
yeah,
something.
Yeah, you
Good
do the
man,
math,
though. Good
man.
man, though.
You do
Good
the
man.
math.
Yeah. So
I like the interaction though.
Do
on
the math and put it on there for us, please.
real quick on the on our live feed, Thomas Hartman, T. Hartman 757. Give him a follow. He commented that he needs a kilogram conversion table. So he's just confirming the meatheadness. Although I would expect him to be able to do it. You know, if he's lifting weights, you kind of know that the regular conversion is almost double. So. But we'll let him slide.
He's no math magician.
Yeah, he's
so
no math magician.
It's all right.
But you know what? That's our problem. The rest of the world knows their kilograms.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. That's like an American problem, and that's it.
All right, continue on, Diego.
So basically, I was pretty depressed. Like my energy was super low. I cried all the time out of nowhere. Like I was literally with my family, and I was crying at some point. And my mom and dad were like, what's wrong? I'm like, I have no effing clue. Like, I just know I want to fucking cry. And I just feel sad out of nowhere. Which now I know it's probably like the lack of energy, the lack of fluid, just being depressed. So I asked for help. I started trying to solve the problem on my own kind of thing with the help of my parents. We went to see psychologists, psychiatrists, nutritionists. But I just couldn't get over it. The fear of like eating more and gaining some fat just really overwhelmed me. And like I said, I'm pretty obsessive, so that was like all I could think of at that time frame. And I got bullied, especially by my brother growing up. I was bullied. So on being fat and stuff. So that was like my main fear per se. So long story short, I kept losing weight. So at one point, all right. So I was trying to take care of it on my own, and it wasn't working. I was still losing a lot of weight. Where I was getting to the point where it's like pretty worrying. When they try to do like body fat measurements, like the typical machines and stuff like that, just couldn't measure the body fat being so low. So I was in a pretty unhealthy place, and it could start like getting pretty bad, kind of affecting my organs, affecting a lot of stuff. So at that point, my parents were somewhat desperate to help me, and this girl was in town doing eating disorder talk. So they met one night with her, and next thing I know, I slept for hours. I probably slept like 12 to 14 hours out of the day at that time. So I woke up. It was probably, I don't know, like 12 o'clock, something like that. And this girl was in my kitchen. So she started talking to me, telling me her experience, how she dealt with it, and I completely related. So she was basically offering me to go to a rehab clinic where they treat eating disorders. And I said, when am I going to go? And she's like, oh, they're waiting for you right now. I'm like, shit, really? Where's the clinic at? And she's like, oh, it's in Mazatlan, which is probably like 8-hour drive from my city. So that made me think about it. And she's like, yeah, you're only going for a week. If you don't like it, you can just get out and you can come back home and blah, blah. Just pack your stuff. I'm like, okay, sure. So I packed my stuff for a week, just my small backpack. And I went blindly into it. I got there. I saw other people dealing with the same stuff. I'm like, okay, I can kind of relate, but yeah, I'm good. I want to deal with it at home. I don't need to be here. So after the first week, they put me in like to talk with the people that took care of the place. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go home. Like, oh, I'm sorry, but you can't. I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah, your parents already paid for the first month. Like, you're stuck here.
Damn.
Blah blah. So I remember at that point I got really pissed off. And I didn't talk to them for the first month at all. I didn't want to listen to them on the phone. I was just really pissed off. And the rehab clinics, pretty much you have a nutritionist with you 24/7, like all day, every day. You cannot go to the bathroom after you eat. They're watching you when you eat. They plan all your meals. In the beginning, you literally cannot move a lot. It's just eating and being still, sitting down, going to how's it called, like meetings, like AA type meetings, but for eating disorders. I'm just like kind of addressing the emotional side. A lot of psychologists in there, and it was basically most addressing the emotional side, which their theory was like the main, or the theory is that's the main thing. That's what's most affected, and that obsession is just trying to blind your emotional well-being. So I after the first month, I kind of like, okay, I'll stay for another month just to see how this goes. I think it's kind of helping. And it was the same thing. Third month, I'm like, okay, I'll give it another month. The program was 4 months for alcoholics, 6 months for rehab. But after the fourth month, you got to pretty much choose if you want to complete the 6 months. So I honestly feeling really good in there.
Diego, how old were you again?
At that point, I'm 18. No, I'm turning 19. I turned 19 like a few days after getting in.
How old are you now?
26. So yeah, so that was 7 years ago, and so I spent there at the end 6 months. I followed the whole thing. In the end, I didn't want to leave the clinic. It was like a safe space. I didn't want to go into the real world and deal with me taking care of my nutrition, like taking care of my training. I wasn't in such a comfort place at that moment, and I trusted them so much that I really just didn't want to leave. And I remember I got really pissed off at them because they didn't wanted me to stay anymore.
So after you left, what were the biggest challenges from then transitioning from that super controlled environment of the rehab to then being out on your own?
I think that just being out on my own, like me having to deal with it, and my obsessing nature, like just obsessing with food all the time. Like I didn't go out. I had my meals like to the T. Like I couldn't pass a minute till I had my meal. I had everything packed. Like I was just super controlling of everything. If we were gonna go out to eat, like my family wanted to go out to eat to a restaurant, I would eat beforehand and I would join them, or I would just wouldn't go out with them. I wouldn't go out with friends to eat. Mostly it was just like if I wanted to go out, I didn't go out to drink at all either. I was afraid like of the calories and stuff like that.
And at this point, you were coming from being overweight and having basically a fear of food, and you kind of went through rehab to deal with that, and then, is that right?
Yep. So I went. Yeah. Go ahead.
So now, for those that don't know you, you're a really lean guy, and I think, and eventually you ended up taking that too far, right? To where you got too small and like just basically afraid of food. So now though you're pretty lean and muscular, and you eat a lot of food to support your activity level. So now to this day, like current day, is that a hard thing for you to do, to like eat a bunch of food to support? Like do you still kind of get scared a little that you're gonna get back to gaining weight? What's that like for you?
I would say at the moment it's not a factor anymore. 99% of the time I'm really good. If I start doubting or after like having a little bit of fear on the subject, I think I have the tools now, and I'm pretty conscious about it to know that something emotionally or something in my life is bothering me that I'm not taking care of, to where I'm just relating it to food. And that's something I now can address pretty quickly, and I realize it easily. But it's been like a long process for me to get to this point. I would say, like in the beginning, it was really controlling. Then slowly, it was like, okay, I'll go out once every month, and kind of just have something really healthy. And then I think the best way, well, what got me here was slowly I started to really just hating being in that spot. Like I really enjoyed my life, being so controlling, and I started setting little challenges for myself. Like I would say, just okay, today just eat this food and don't weigh it out. Just see how you feel, and be okay if you gain weight. Of course, I wasn't gonna gain weight, but in my mind it was like, oh, I'm gonna be fat after this. Or that was what my mind was telling me. So little challenges like that over the course of the years led me to finally, like, now I feel pretty freely about like just going out and eating, and if I want to hang out, having a few drinks. I don't drink a lot. Now it's just because I don't enjoy it that much. I might have one beer or two. But yeah, like in the end it was.
What's your favorite cervezas?
Cervezas. I would say, you know what? I would say red ales. Irish red ales.
Irish red ale.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of
not-
a little bit before the stout, like strong beer. I hate light beer. I would never drink that stuff.
Gary thought you were gonna say Corona.
Nah. Nah.
Oh,
I could I could tell by the look on his face, like that's what he was hoping for.
I was gonna get real West Coast and say Pacifico.
Ooh.
If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late, so having a 3-hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's one scoop mixed in water once a day and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high-quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process, so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out. If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late, so having a 3-hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's one scoop mixed in water once a day and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high-quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process, so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. Proven Grit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out.
Oh, yeah. I forget you've been living the West Coast life. You got a little more
cultured.
Horizon, yeah.
But
I'm
so
a little more international, man.
I feel you. So
Mr. Worldwide.
From Mexico to the U.S. to Ireland.
so what you went through is obviously on an extreme level of like, being afraid of food and having to go to rehab for, what was it, 6 months?
Yep, 6 months.
But then eventually getting lean and now being able to kind of eat to support your goals. What do you think is like a great tip for listeners who maybe, and we might have some dealing with it on that extreme level, but even just what we run into when people, they're overweight and then they lose weight, but they're still always fearful of food, even when they say have lost 50 pounds and maintained it. Now, I kind of see where you're going with this, where like you have like the whole macro counting and calorie counting can be part of the long-term problem because it's that neurosis. So is that what you would kind of say is the key, is really learning to listen to your body and look at food for food and not numbers?
Yeah, I would definitely say like learning to be okay with first letting yourself enjoy stuff. Learning that if you like, for me, a big thing is like it took me a long time to gain weight just because one day I just like to eat crap and don't care about like my nutrition. I'm pretty healthy the rest of the time. Like, if I'm eating unhealthy, that's another thing. But if I'm eating healthy most of the time, and I'm just like a day of the week or a few days of the week, I just want to kind of indulge and don't give a shit about it. And just like, okay, it's fine. I'm not gonna gain fat. And if I do, like, I think the most important thing is knowing that, one, your image is not who you are, and in the end, and none of that is going to bring you happiness. Happiness comes like from a lot of factors out of life, and food and training could be one of those factors. Well, food and movement definitely like are part of the in my vision like a happy life. But if I'm just focusing on those, that means outside of my other factors, something's wrong. Like my relationships, how I see myself, stuff like that, something's wrong to where I need to focus on training and food to kind of solve my problem of unhappiness. So I would say that's the main thing. Like if there's a lot of thought into that process, then you need to look into all the points in your life and kind of balance everything out.
That's deep.
That was deep.
Yeah, we're getting deep in here.
We are getting
Probably
deep.
too deep for Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Ben's changing his song of the week.
Yeah. He's rolling.
As we speak, he's probably looking up like some deep cut, some Alanis Morissette.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
So I want to address
Spoiler alert.
pretty quickly. Thomas Hartman commented a while ago on the feed on Instagram. He asked if I ever regretted going through my eating disorder, and I don't at all. And I mentioned it to one of our members from the Coastal the other day. It definitely it was a 360 shift in my life, but it has given me the experience I have and got me to where I'm now. So I wouldn't change a thing. It changed me and it changed my family.
Yeah. I
yeah.
agree. Our experiences,
Actually,
even the worst ones are. That's what makes the journey, So, and everyone has them. Like when I started out and started learning about nutrition, I kind of went down that neurosis path where you start worrying too much about the details and it starts to consume you and you don't even look at food as food anymore. And that's just not healthy either, So over the long run, those little periods where people struggle, it's only going to make you better if you learn from it, So what do you guys think, Will?
Sure.
Ben? You know Diego. If you never heard Diego's story, would you ever think he went through any of that? Since y'all are with him on a day-to-day basis.
nah. So he has a really good grasp on his body and how he responds and his eating. He just has a good like solid like foundation. So if I didn't know, I probably wouldn't say that like, oh man, he probably went through this, right? Really, it just seems like, all right, well, this guy just really knows his body. He's really intuitive, and he does like a good job with just managing his eating, and he has a good relationship with food and all that. Like, that's where I would be if I didn't know his story already. I think, it just seems like he's got a good grasp on everything. Like he doesn't, go nuts and like binge super hard for long periods of time. He's like, he eats like some plain ass food.
Yeah.
Like he eats like chicken and potatoes, and I don't think there's any seasoning on them, and like an apple. And like I feel like you can't eat stuff like that and enjoy it. Like if you don't have a good grasp on things and you don't have any, like emotional problems with food. Because most people need food to taste like really good every meal.
Yeah.
Well, not most people, but some people, because like, they need that enjoyment out of eating. So like when I saw that this dude eats like plain ass chicken, he doesn't even heat it up. He just eats cold chicken and potatoes.
Cold food is the best, man.
And like that's how I know he's a sick freak. But like I feel like you can't eat cold chicken and potatoes that are plain unless you have like a really good thing going. Because most people are like, no, that's not going to taste good. I don't want that. So
For being so young, he's been through a lot. He's been through the ups and the downs and kind of got a taste of both extremes. When you go to both extremes, your middle ground is really, really solid. And when you deviate, like he said, sometimes I'm just like, you know what? Like I'm just gonna eat. And maybe that means I gain some weight. Maybe the scale in the next few days looks really scary. But when you've been through what Diego's been through, the calmness that he brings to those type of real life fluctuations that we all go through are crucial. He doesn't spend. It was really weird. I was talking to some people today about like as if stress was like a card, and you play a stress card every time you come to work out, or you make a good choice, or something happens at work. You're playing these cards. We only have a certain amount before we just right. He never spends any on worrying about those tiny fluctuations. And some people that scale watch, or some people that are really, he said himself a little bit more obsessive about making sure that he's doing the right stuff. Like they'll spend stress cards on just anything. But he's been through it. He knows better than to spend those. And what it shows to the rest of us is just a calm, sensible demeanor with life's up and downs. He's not easily shaken, and that's definitely something that the impression I get from him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the thing I take away that I think is encouraging for people listening that have their own struggles is like you can change. Like Will mentioned, he would never know who Diego is today at 26 and his eating habits. He would just assume that's how he always was. But we in fact know, when he was 18, he was in rehab for 6 months and struggling with food because he was overweight. So like he was a completely different mindset and person. So you can change who you are. Like you are not, like if you feel like you define yourself as, oh, I'm the overweight person who is addicted to food, like you don't have to be that person. Now it takes effort and time, but it's possible to change and then be that person who eats food for fuel or enjoys it and is lean, and that can be you.
And that is like definitely a process. Like there's a lot of ups and downs to that journey. But it's like in anything, like if you're related to training, if you're training, like some days you'll feel better, you'll feel stronger, you'll push more weight, and some days you need to take a step back. No, it's okay. Some days you just feel really tired and like you cannot train. Same like with everything, but related to food is like some days, you'll feel really confident about yourself. Like in my journey, it was some days I could feel like, oh, this is going great, like life is great, I feel confident, I can eat more food. And then some days I would be really scared and really afraid. And I just had to realize there was those ups and downs. But as long as like in the long run there was progress, and I felt like every time there was a little bit of light of me like being more secure of stuff and not relaying everything to food, and my obsession dropping down a little bit, then slowly like it's through the years I've got to this point.
Yep. So let's change gears a little. So one thing I think would be fun to talk about is, so as Diego, you're a coach for us at Coastal Strength and Fitness, and working with people and kind of learning early in your career. And let's talk about how, when people are working on their own nutrition, you're getting feedback, maybe a journal, and kind of taking people for what they say isn't always the best approach, So you want to kind of talk about that, Diego? How for people listening, it's best to, like, no one's perfect. We don't expect anyone to be perfect. And as a coach, it actually slows down the advice you're able to give by not being completely honest.
Yeah, I started experiencing that when starting working with some of our clients, asking, like, they were frustrated because they can lose any weight, or they like kind of hit a plateau where it was like, hey, I'm eating really good, stuff like that, and I'm not losing any weight. So I asked them what they were eating, and they gave me like the layout, and it was like, I don't know, something like 1,400 calories or something like that. And I'm like, okay, how long have you been doing that? So, okay, just like a couple of weeks, blah, blah. But in my mind, it's like, okay, they're under eating. Like, we probably need to eat a little more. If you're 200 pounds, 220, and you're eating 1,400 calories, then, damn, that's not a lot of food. So we probably need to eat more, help you out. And in the end, like, they wouldn't listen to my advice, first of all. And then I just got really frustrated. And I remember it was like a few clients after I decided to talk to you about the subject, and kind of started questioning myself, the fact that why don't they want to eat more if I'm advising to them? And I related somewhat to my own experience of me being afraid to eat more.
Yeah.
And that's like, because in my head, that's what I saw at some point. But then, like, I start questioning that, seeing it from other perspectives, and talking to you about the subject. It's like, yeah, like, if someone's 220 pounds, there's a lot of fat, like, that needs to be lost. So eating 1,400 calories, it's not going to, like, necessarily slow the metabolism a lot. And they still have a long way to go.
Yeah, because what happens is, and we know, like, even if you undereat for a little bit in the beginning, you'll still lose some weight if you're truly under eating, especially if you're overweight and most of your body weight's body fat. Body fat is stored energy. So when you have that huge calorie deficit, your body has to use stored energy to make up the difference, which is fat, which is weight loss, right? So if, like, that's not even happening initially, then what's really happening is they're not under eating, they're under reporting, so they may, and like, we completely understand this. What happens is, like, people will put in a lot of effort and do a good job, and then the little kind of things they overlook, maybe the extra glasses of wine or the cheese and crackers while cooking dinner, that can't be that significant. I don't need to really bring that up, but that little stuff is significant and does make a difference. So in actuality, that's normally the case most of the time. So really, what Diego and I talked about, it's more important to not take people's first answer and to keep digging and keep digging, because doing this for 12 years, I found 95% of the time the answer is pretty much the extra snacking. There's calories that are sneaking in. So
and for clients, like for anyone listening, if you're kind of there and you need some advice, knowing that, like, it's okay wherever you're at any point. Like, it's okay. It helps us out better. We're able to help you a lot more, or whoever's coaching you is able to do more, like, being honest with it. And we all have our issues with stuff. So, like, it's not like you're going to be judged or anything like that just from eating a little bit more. But if you have a clear standpoint, then that sets a better base for the advice you're going to get. And after that, start seeing progress.
Yeah, and then you mentioned we had a client, who had a great little breakthrough and lost a bunch of weight, and she mentioned how basically she realized that, like, the little lies she told herself that she was trying, or that, like, this snack here or this drink here isn't the difference. Ultimately, she was just holding herself back, from that. And once that clicked, then everything fell into place,
Yeah.
And that was kind of a light bulb for you as well, as a coach?
Yeah, once she told me the story, cause she was eating pretty well, but like you said, she was drinking a beer here and there. She was having wine on some point. So once like she realized and she like really narrow it down to like, okay, I want to eat healthier. I really want to like focus on this goal. Like she just did it, and she did an amazing job, and that made me realize like, okay, if it was just that small stuff for her, like a few small changes, and like being really aware of what you're doing, eating, because sometimes like we'll even tell ourselves lies, and we believe our own lies, you know. So like just being really aware of what you were doing, and then just changing those small stuff. Like it wasn't huge steps. She didn't change like completely what she was doing. She just tried to focus a little more on the better habits, and eliminated one or two bad habits, and she had awesome results.
And that's what I've learned in my years as a coach, is just more patience, and that even though you can have the resources for someone to start losing that 15 pounds right away, you know what, like, it's okay if they don't do that. Sometimes it takes a year or two, you know, of working on other things, like just showing up to working out. And sometimes people just aren't ready. They need to go through some ups and downs, and it just takes time, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think like, really the biggest thing, like that Diego just said, like you have to be aware, you know? And if you're not like taking a step back and just kind of looking objectively at everything, like, all right, well, how much am I really eating? You know, like he said, like we tell ourselves little lies about like, this little snack doesn't matter, or this, and you just like almost omit it from the picture. Like, okay, well, this is negligible. This glass of wine that I have every day doesn't mean anything, because it's just like, you know, a little here and there. But if you're more aware, like, oh shit, like I have a glass of wine every day and it's an extra 1,000 calories a week, or whatever it ends up being, like that makes a difference between like losing a pound a week and not. So yeah, just being more aware. And sometimes for people, like it's hard, because those are our like comfort foods or comfort activities that make you feel better, you know. Especially Diego connected it to like, all right, well, if this part of your life that maybe isn't the best right now, whether it's like a relationship or work or whatever it may be, like sometimes will cover it up with that stuff and then act like it doesn't happen. So, you know, just maybe taking a step back, write down what you eat, and, you know, try to be honest with yourself about it, you know, because like if you do have a goal, you kind of do have to ask yourself the hard questions, or have somebody else ask you the questions, you know, but in being prepared to answer them truthfully if you do want, you know, that hard change.
Yeah. Ultimately, kind of circling back to what Diego said originally, was the root of his problem that he learned when he was in rehab was food. You have to get to a point to where you don't use food as a solution to problems. Like if you have a bad day at work and you create a habit of having wine to help you feel better about your coworker that you hate, that's a recipe for disaster, you know? So really, in the short term, yeah, it's all about learning how to eat healthy and the best foods and all that, but you want to always be addressing the bigger picture as well, which is not using food as stress relief, essentially.
Yeah, because then, like, you know, after that happens a couple times, then it's automatic. Like, you didn't even think about it, and you have a stressful day, and you automatically, like, go get that wine without even really making a conscious decision about it. It's just like, you go home, you probably grab your wine, you pour the wine, then you start drinking it without even really realizing what you're doing, or really having much of an actual choice. Like, it's such a habit that your brain's like, okay, I'm home, time to get wine, and then you just do it. So, yeah, and that's hard to break, but, you know, awareness does a lot for that.
Yeah. And then for a lot of people listening, are probably thinking, oh, well, then I can never have wine or whatever. That's not the case either. I think a good habit to instill is that these treats and foods and stuff, you want to associate them with an experience, with a great time, right? So, yeah, when you meet up with friends for that yearly trip, or you're celebrating someone's birthday or whatever the occasion, holiday, like, yeah, like have your favorite foods, you know, have that wine and stuff, but enjoy it and relate it to the experience, to the fun experience. That's a great habit versus resorting to these foods and treats when you had a bad day or you're sad or whatnot. So, again, it takes time, but that's a great mindset to start working on.
Yeah, no, I like
So-
that a lot.
So what do you guys think? You think we covered a lot here? Maybe we can see where the direction took us for Ben's Song of the Week and kind of wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm actually really interested in that.
Yeah, this one, it's definitely inspired this week. Definitely inspired. Big fan of the band Fun, and then also specifically just Nate. He's got a lot of the lead singer there. He's got a lot of emotion. He's been through some stuff. You can tell. This one is it's called Be Calm, and it's just.
I thought it was gonna be Hungry Like the Wolf.
Oh no, it's lovely.
Mm.
It's definitely going to take you on a little bit of a ride. There's a lot of different musical changes, no real tempo changes, but definitely musical. Obviously starting off with some violin there, gets a little more hardcore.
I used to play the violin.
Definitely transition, change.
Okay. Started off Jerry.
Yeah. And I have the lyrics by you for sure. He spits it quick, but they're worth the read as well.
All right, there we go. Fun. I only know like their one-hit song. I don't know any.
Yeah.
They're every single album, even if you follow it back to the format where Nate started, format fun, and then Nate's new stuff. You're gonna find something on every single album that you're gonna love. I love the format. Yeah. That's back when he was just a hometown kid, and then he moves to. It kind of said it right.
Just a small town girl.
Yep, it moves into the big city. You're actually following this guy's life because he knows how to, entertain with his music, but capture you with his lyrics. So there's your recommendation of the week.
There we go.
All right, so we'll close it out here, episode 8 with Diego. Learned a lot. Hopefully you guys took something away from it. If you are interested in working with our coaches at the gym, you can just hit up our website, coastalfitnessva.com. That's where we have a blog, a bunch of stuff you can learn more about us. You can fill out a form, set up a strategy session to chat more, depending on what your goals are and everything. And we also have a virtual, if you want, you can go to my website, garydeagle.com. So we do some online coaching as well. And we'll be back next week. We have a lot going on. So we had alluded in the last episode to some big news. And that big news is that we're moving the gym, Coastal Fitness, to a bigger location. So pretty close to the original one, but it's going to be more than double the size. So we're excited about that. Got a lot going on. We'll have a little kind of like podcast studio there / movement therapy room for Ben. So that's going to be fun. And you guys, I know y'all are excited because I don't think he'll be excited once all the flooring and painting's done.
I'm excited, but there's
a lot of
weight. There's a lot of weight over here.
Yeah.
I'm on the East Coast.
A lot of weight. I don't know. The sun's shining in my eyes. I couldn't hear you.
Sometimes it doesn't shine. And you're reminded of all the shit you have to do.
Diego just went out of picture, like he's not even a part of it at all.
Yeah, he was like, "Nah, I'm just gonna let them handle everything."
You guys can take care of that. I'm just coach.
He's gonna show up when everything's said and done to coach on Monday.
There we go. All right, guys. Well, as always, if you have questions, you can hit us up on social media or send us an email, contact@coastalfitnessva.com. And we look forward to chatting and having you guys tune in next week. All right. Holla back.
Later.
See ya.